everybody. I feel like you're gonna find the title that I chose for this vlog pretty funny. It's called Constructive Criticism, the Silent Killer. So many people have constructive criticism for us as performers, right? Whether you're an actor or a writer, or you're a filmmaker and you've made your film and it's in festivals, or you're a producer, or you're a painter, there's always somebody who's got a comment to make. When we do these kinds of things, we're putting ourselves out into the public eye, and we can't have any reward without the risk. And putting yourself out there and putting your name on something that you've created takes a lot of guts. So first and foremost, it's really important to remember that, because 90% of the population doesn't have the guts to do it. And here's the thing. We can all handle the random comment on Facebook, or the critic who has a reputation for not liking anything, or even that envious, snarky comment from some fellow classmate we had back in the day who now is a little bit envious of our success. We're artists. We've developed the thick skin. We've rolled with the punches. We know how to expect that kind of thing. But what do you do when somebody approaches you with the concept of being constructive in their criticism? They're saying it for your own good. They want to have a dialogue with you about how you're packaging yourself, how you're branding yourself, or what material you chose to work on, or your last performance and the choices you made and the risks you took. Be very leery of those types of people. And I say this once again from my own experience. People have a way of cloaking themselves and being covert in what they're really feeling. Sometimes they think, well, no, wait, I'm gonna stop myself here. I was gonna say sometimes people may be well-intentioned, but in my experience, there are a lot of people who are not well-intentioned. A lot of people go under the guise of being your best friend or saying something for your own good, but most of the time they're just nasty, but in a covert way. So I am going to impart on you a piece of advice that I got from a producer that I worked with. And it ended up being one of the best pieces of advice I ever got in my career. Don't own anything. It means don't own, in other words, invest in the criticisms or the compliments. Be neutral about everything. Doesn't mean that you can't celebrate your success. It doesn't mean that you can't be grateful for a compliment or say thank you. It doesn't mean that if somebody says something to you and there's value in it that you shouldn't consider it. But the wisdom in this bit of advice is to try to find a way to maintain, once again, a balance about your expectations. When you don't own either emotionally, then you don't sway with everything that someone says about you. You're able to hold your center and keep your wits about you and stay pragmatic and be able to honestly look at yourself in a clearer light. I can't tell you how many times when I was in a place of feeling discouraged about my artistic growth and my career, where it was heading, and I reached out to somebody whom I thought was a friend or a good mentor for me, or would give me constructive criticism, and I would open myself up and share my fears and my insecurities, and sometimes have very lengthy conversations where we would get very deep about who I was and where I was headed. I would go home feeling more confused and more frustrated. And sometimes in retrospect, 2 days later, a week later, I would start to get a kind of a nasty feeling that their constructive criticism wasn't that constructive after all. It's very important to protect your core, your state of mind. And my warning to you is be very careful about who you let into your inner circle when it comes to your creations. The creative process is a very precious, delicate thing. and it can be upset very easily. It's ephemeral. It is hard to pin down and sometimes so magical. And the last thing you want to do is make it vulnerable to outside influences that can harm it or stunt its process. And I'm a firm believer in protecting the creative process, nurturing it, and treating it with respect, and being very cautious as to who I invite into that process to give me constructive criticism. Now, once again, I've got to flip the coin on the other side, and I have to make myself clear. I'm not saying that you should be so full of yourself that you're not willing to listen to any kind of advice or to any kind of opinion. But you've got to know when you're ready for that. And if you're working on something and it's in its very baby stages of growth, don't invite in people who can throw you off of your creative path, who can make you doubt yourself, who can make you feel like you're crazy for embarking on that endeavor in the first place. You don't need that. You have to be very mindful and protective of your thoughts and of your inspiration, because inspiration it's instantaneous and it could be fleeting. And with that awareness, you should also return the favor. And with your other fellow artist friends, respect their process and know when it's time to share an opinion and when you should just stay silent and keep your opinions to yourself. So beware of those people that always have something constructive to say, or who tend to always want to make a comment about something. And be gentle with yourself and honor and protect your process. There's nothing worse than going down the road of insecurity and paranoia because somebody said something that wormed its way into your self-esteem and your consciousness. It's deadly, and I think that probably most of you have been there at one point or another, where someone says one thing to you and it just throws you off. Power is knowing how to follow your own path fearlessly, unwaveringly, with intention towards your vision, not allowing the naysayers to throw you off course. So stay true to your path. You'll know when it's the right time to share, to open yourself up for any kind of criticism. And as always, I hope you found some value in this little piece of advice today. Until next time, take care.